What are the qualities of a great leader, and how is leadership different in Forever? Okay. The qualities of a great leader are one thing, but in our multi-level marketing business, leadership means a whole different thing than it typically does in the workplace. Okay. The captain is the leader of the ship, right? But he's not responsible for teaching everybody else how to be a captain also. He's only responsible for driving the ship. You, as a distributor in Forever, have a whole different form of leadership. If you are a great leader just yourself, that's wonderful. But it's not going to help your group a lot. Just as mothers a lot of times are great mothers, but they're not great leaders in the fact that they nurture a little too much sometimes. They don't make it hard enough sometimes. And they're always a fallback sometimes. I know my wife, due to her Latin blood, it's very difficult for her to let the kids experiment for themselves and go on their own. But in reality, that's really what we want. We want them to get out of the nest and fly better and faster and farther than we ever have, right? But sometimes we hold them back because we love them too much. We worry too much about them, right? So leadership in Forever is a little bit different. Somebody said over here, you're going to lead by example. Now, another point, you can't expect others to do anything that you are not willing to do yourself, right? Because if you do, that's not very fair. You're not leading by example, are you? Breaking a principle there. You got to share the spotlight. This is difficult for a lot of people. We don't want, or we are better at presenting the marketing plan than the people in our group are, so we present it rather than have them present it. And what are we doing to them? We're doing exactly what the mother does to the 40-year-old that's still living at home. We're doing everything for them. We have to teach them to grow. I was very fortunate to be involved in professional football. And during the preseason, the first team usually plays the first quarter. Why do they only play the first quarter? You know they want to win the game. But it's very important to get the second group, or the people that are good, that go in when somebody gets hurt, experience and on-the-job experience, so that when they get thrown in the game halfway through the season, they're not turning around in circles, they know where to go. But what do we do to our distributors? Well, no, I don't want him to be the MC because he fumbles around a lot, he says the wrong thing sometimes. Well, that's part of growing, that's part of a distributor growing. Now, some people will never become great at being the MC, but most of us, can at least become pretty good. And we've got to be, as a leader, we've got to have the courage to empower them to fail and to learn. And from failure, they'll get back up, and the next time they'll be better. I guarantee you, the first time I spoke in front of a group, I probably was terrible. I probably wasn't very good. But through practice, and more practice, and perfect practice makes perfect, and more practice, you get better and better. But a lot of times we're afraid, because there's a new person in the group, we're afraid to let our downline do the presentation because they don't do it as good as us. And what we're doing is we're not being very good leaders. We're inhibiting them from growing. Okay? Share the spotlight. Don't always have the microphone and talk for a long time. Okay? Make sure you stay on time and let the new people experience what it's like to talk in front of a group. Grow your presentation skills. Very important one. Who is usually the one that makes the most money in the room? It's the people that are in the front of the room, right? If you're doing the presentation, you're probably making more money than the people that are watching the presentation. You want them to be in your shoes. So you've got to encourage them to take small parts in doing their presentations and then grow them to where they can do all their own. Put a high value on your time and their time. Always make sure you're on time for scheduled events. Very, very important, because you as a leader are showing everyone else that their time is valuable to you. So always remember that. We used to have what was called Lombardi time. And there's a great coach, his name was Mr. Lombardi, Vince Lombardi. And he actually grew up in New Jersey and went to, what do you call the school in between high school and college?
Middle.
No, it's like an academy. After high school, he went over in New Jersey. Went on to become one of the greatest coaches ever. And Vince Lombardi time meant that you were there 10 minutes early. So you always want to be on Lombardi time. Don't forget where you started. Now what does that mean? That means we all started as distributors, right? And sometimes when we're managers, we think we know everything when we really don't. And sometimes when we're vice presidents, we think we know everything when we really don't. I'll show you a perfect example, real quick. This idea on the light, it was brought to me by Anita and Norby, what, 2 years ago or 3 years ago with the DC rally. And Norby was kind of hesitant to tell me, I don't know if I should tell you, because it was a competitor that he had that, one of the products. I'm like, I love that. I bring it to the vice president, it's over that the ordering of these, they didn't want to do it. So, we go ahead and launch it. We went ahead and talked them into at least doing a limited supply of them, and it was such a hit that now this is one great seller for us, and it's flying off the shelves. So thank you, Norman and Anita, for having the courage to stand up and say what you think, right? So don't forget where you started. Always remember that everybody's ideas can be great. Positive impact drives income. How many people are you making a positive impact on? And the more you do, the higher your income's going to be. You think about Rex, and the reason he does this, still works as hard as he does, is because he loves watching people grow. Okay? And I can tell you that he is your true friend. Even though he's a multi-billionaire, he doesn't think he's any better than anybody else in the room. And I can tell you, if we were setting up chairs or ripping down chairs, and he's here, he's going to be right there with you, grabbing chairs and helping you set them up or helping you put them down. That's just the kind of person that he is, and I hope that I always emulate those same qualities that he does, because I admire him very much. But a true friend is never above you, never below you, but always beside you. And in our forever family, I hope that the more and more you get to know me, you'll know that I am a true friend. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I think I'm as good as everybody, but I don't think I'm any better than anybody. And I always want to be beside you and help you to achieve your dreams and your goals. So with that, if you believe in yourself, the sky is the limit. I guess I got one thing to say. I'm sorry, what was your husband's name? Right? Yeah, he might think he's sleeping with a stranger tonight because she looks so beautiful. Yes. He's going to be like, oh my gosh, is that my wife? Who is it? We were saying how beautiful the ladies look. I have to just share with you before I sit down. I'm sorry, I'm done. It was amazing for me to watch, Imogene, thank you for your presentation, to watch. All the ladies had their phones out going like this. And all the guys are over here. It was true. I looked around the room like 3 times, and there was 2 guys paying attention, and every lady was like this. So it's pretty cute, pretty cute. With that, I'll turn it back over to our MCs for the day, and let's give them a special hand, because they've done a great job.